fall. Say you stand by your man and tell me something I don't understand. You said you love me, and that's a fact, and then you left me.
Hello there, Tony Medley once again, and a nice warm welcome to my workshop. Not that it's so warm, it's absolutely freezing to be perfectly honest. I've got my fire on here. Today's project is going to be another one for the beginners. I've been thinking what I can do for beginners, and I thought if I make a goblet with captive rings on, it covers hollowing, the finishing of it, it covers everything, and I think the most important thing was to put captive rings on to show you exactly how to do it. So I've got a little piece of holly, and what I'm going to do, obviously I won't use the full lot, I'll put a chuck and point here so it can go into some heavy duty jaws, and then I'll get it smoothed out. I'll hollow it to the goblet shaped, but then what's most important is showing you in great detail how to put the captive rings on, and they look quite attractive once you learn how to do that. So they're dead easy, but I think that's the best thing for today. So anyway, without further ado, we'll get into the chuck, and then we'll take it from there. Right, I've got it in the chuck here, and what I'm going to do now, I think we should make the goblet part probably to there. So what we're going to do first is shape it round and make the goblet part of it. Then we'll go in and we'll try to get, say, 2 to 3 captive rings, and I'll do one in great detail for you. You remember earlier on in the videos that I did, don't have the tool that way. The more you have it that way, it's not as aggressive. I'm just going to smooth this off so we can put the steady on, just to make sure, and then we will hollow that out. So as I say, so you can't get your finger in there, and all we're going to do is just take a couple of inches just as a nice steady, so that's nice and steady for the steady to go into it, and then it'll be running nice and true. So all I'm going to do is use a skew chisel as a scraper and take enough for the wheels to go around. Right, I've fitted this steady, and as you can see, it's all nice and tight. I'll just turn the lathe on to show you how it works. And all it, so that when we hollow this part out, it just keeps it nice and central. So, I'm not sure whether you can see that. When we start to hollow this out, all it's going to do is keep it nice and steady and run true. I find the easiest way to hollow is when you've got a small diameter hole. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to drill through with a 20mm Forstner bit, and then obviously take it to the depth which I've marked there, and then obviously we'll use a hollowing tool to take it out. Just take it nice and easy. Let the drill do its work without overheating. Right, we've got the steady on, and what I'm going to use is an 8mm hollowing tool from Simon Hope. As you can see, it's got a square bar, and what happens is that goes onto your tool rest, and the cutter is at the correct angle. It's at a 45-degree angle. I don't know whether you can see that. So at all times it's always at the right or the optimum cutting angle. So hope it's not too close, and we'll just start hollowing out nice and gently. Just turn the speed up a little bit. And just nice and gentle. As you can see, this is flat on the tool rest, and it's cutting away nice and easy. I'm just going to lift the tool rest up slightly. Using the Sam and Hook tool, there is very little chance of getting a catch. Right, I've got it widened out that little bit more, and what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to show you how to do it if you're using the traditional tools. This is a 3-inch ball gouge, and what you want to do is just nibble away with that little corner, but carefully don't get the top. So there's no sharp edges there to get a catch. So nice and gently, just take it off with that. If I use a pen, that probably shows you better. All you want to be doing is just using that little edge there. Whether you can see that. One marked in blue. So, as I keep saying, we've got all the time in the world. Nice and gentle. Have this at this one at about 11 o'clock. And then nice and gentle, you can see it's starting to don't turn the chisel clockwise because it will become more aggressive. That'll do for now. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to use a scraper and try to get as smooth as possible. So I'll put the camera at a different angle and show you the scraping method. Right, all we're going to do is use a scraper just to make it nice and smooth. When you're using a scraper, it's always best to have the tool rest just slightly higher so that I know that's exaggerated, it goes in pointing downwards. Right, got it hollowed out, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to sand it, but I'm going to do it off video. You don't need me to show you how to sand it down, so I'm going to sand it through the grits, and then we will put some polish on it. Then we can start on the bottom. It's nice and smooth now. It's got a lovely grain on it. What I'm going to do now is just apply a little bit of sand and sealer, then Yorkshire grit, and then get a little bit of wax on it. So just seal it all off. Right, I'm just going to use a little bit of Yorkshire grit now, and then a little bit of wax, and then we're ready to start on the other. I don't know whether you've used this Yorkshire grit, but I find it absolutely superb. Excuse me, that sanding seal is getting on my chest. I just think it finishes the item off. As I've been on before about it, it just finishes it off. So you just buff it up until it does its magic, and you can see that it's coming off. When you get a clean cloth, that's when it's done its job. All we're going to do is just place a tennis ball there, and all that's for, it's just to give it that little bit of steadiness. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take this down now, and then we're going to put hopefully 2 to 3 captive rings on it. We'll try for 3, and what we'll do, we'll mark them off in 1/2 inch sections. What we're going to do is just round them off to make them into rounds, then sand them off, and then we're ready to part them off and make them into captive rings. I've got my feet about 20 inches apart, and as you can see, I'm turning the chisel to take it down. Right, now that we've got them reasonably shaped on the top, we need to braid them, and I'm gonna sand them down 120, 180, and 240. Then obviously we'll part them off, and then we can sand the inside. I'll show you how we do that. So I'm going to turn the sound off now, because what I need is the extractor on, and it's quite loud. Now that we've got the captive rings all sanded down on the outside, we're going to make them into a physical ring now, and how we do that is using one of these tools. As you can see, it's rounded, and all you're going to do is cut it off with this part here. So what we'll do, nice and careful, we will part the rings off. I've done 3, or we've made 3, but more often than not they do break. So we'll be lucky if we end up with 2. So extremely lucky if we end up with 3. So what we'll do now, I'll show you how I make them into a ring itself. Very, very carefully make that and make a cut. and a little bit each side, and be very, very patient. And then a little bit from the other side, and keep doing that until you'll see when it starts to part off. We'll just stop and have a look and just make sure that it's starting to make and ready to part. The best thing is to take it a little bit each time, and it will part. Just have another little look. You can normally feel when it's ready to come off. You can see it's starting to twist, so it won't be long before it does come off. There we go. It might want that just that little bit more, but you can see it's starting to come round. There we go. And then just break them off. Right, now what I'm going to do now, or the way that I find it best to do it, is we're going to tape that up, and then we're going to clean that off, then we will tape it to that, and then we'll work on this one. I'm going to tape that to that one so that it's out of our way while we just turn that little bit there. Just tape it up, and all we're going to do is clean this up to the finished article, or the desired diameter. As I said, we'll take that off now. Just trying to keep that tape, but I don't know whether it'll be any good. Right, put that to the goblet itself now. I think we'll put one more piece of tape round that, and then we'll part the next one off. It's time to take this one off now. Just lift that. When you're using the chisel to go around, do it just above centre height, and then you should be okay. Right, time to take the next one off now. we've got these taped up, we'll just take that little bit more off there and then we're ready to part that one off. Right, now it's time to take the third one off. We've been extremely lucky up to now. I shouldn't say that because it'll probably break on us, but we'll go nice and careful again. Time to take the tape off and move the rings down the other side. Right, now that we've got that sanded off, it's time to do the insides of the rings. And all you do is cut a little piece of tape and then a little bit of masking tape, something to stick it to the wood. A little bit on that side. Right. We'll just take one of the rings off. And keep your fingers well out of the way, and you can see there what we're doing. And then if you turn it over like that, you'll get it to the round shape. You don't want it flat. You want it as round as possible. And just turn it round. But as I say, have the lathe going very, very slowly. You don't want it too fast. And then you can keep turning it round, turning these, and get them to the desired effect. Right, we'll just turn that off. We'll just put a little bit on there. It's just to stick that on. Right. They're all cleaned up, and I've changed that to a bit of 180. Nobody's going to feel inside there, and to be perfectly honest, they are smooth enough. So all we're going to do is take that off, same as this one here. Take that one off, take the bit of sandpaper off, and then we're going to put some finish on, and then we're going to part it off. It all smoothed off. I've just marked it where I'm going to part it off, and all we're going to do now is put a little bit of Yorkshire grit on it and let it do its magic. Just give it a good coating and let the oil and the pumice stones do its work. The rings themselves, I always put it on, it just keeps it the same colour, because the Yorkshire grit does have a certain amount of oil in it, and some people, I don't, but some people use that as a finish. I like to put a little bit of wax on. So another thing why I put 3 on is usually in case one breaks when you're carving them on, or when you're putting them on. What some people do, and it's an excellent idea, and I've done it before, is if you put 2 on, but I'd always recommend you put 3 and then you can take 1 off, and then give it as a wedding present. And you can always say that if anybody can take them rings off, they can break the marriage up. Well, the bride falls for it straight away. They absolutely love them. I've even been asked to make them for a wedding present for people who would like to give them as a gift, and they've purchased them from me. So we've got the Yorkshire grit on, and all we'll do, we will give it a good buffing up, and then we will put the wax on. So I'm just going to turn that lathe down a little bit, it's going a little bit too fast. Now, you've seen this before, so I'm not going to go through it all. I'll just tell you what you need to do is you're getting Yorkshire grit off, and you do it until there's nothing comes off at all. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to put wax on it on video. I will just make that do. I'm just going to buff this up with the Yorkshire grit, and then I'll come back to you. I've put some sand and seal on it, then I covered it with the Yorkshire grit as you've seen. I've put 3 coats of very fine coats of the high gloss wax, and all he has to do now is part it off and then clean the bottom. So we'll do that now. I'll show that how I do it. That's it parted off. All I'm going to do now is I'll just clean that up with a bit of sandpaper and then put a little bit of wax on, and that will do it. Hello there. Well, that's another one done, and you can see the grain of the holly is absolutely superb. Very nice indeed. As I said earlier on, sometimes 2 rings will suffice, but that's the 3. I always go for 3. And if one breaks, well, you're okay, because that's what you want to end up with. So got the bottom finished, all smoothed off. The grain on the holly was absolutely superb. It's not one of my favourite woods, because I like the darker woods. Well, you know what my favourite is, I like yew, but that is a lovely grain, and it's a nice wood to turn, to be perfectly honest. It's very, very nice. All finished off inside, and like I say, it's the perfect project for a beginner, and I hope I've explained it so you can understand it. So sorry, I'll just turn that compress off, I do apologise. Like I say, if there's anything as a beginner, and when I say beginner, I'm sure that you've had 6 months, a year's experience, that it's a good project. So if you've got anything that you'd like to make and you'd like me to do as a newbie, beginner, whatever you want me to call you, I don't know. And at the end of the day, as long as I'm attracting people into this lovely hobby of ours, then I'm fine. So hope you enjoyed it. If you do, have a look at my other videos. I'm sure that you'll get something out of it. They probably don't go into the depth that I go into for beginners. But hope you enjoyed it. If you like what I'm doing, please give me the thumbs up. I keep saying that, and please subscribe. It does mean a lot to me. I'm trying to grow the channel, so I'll catch up with. All I can say now is I will catch up with you on the next video. Thanks for watching now. Bye.